Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of The Daily here with Jason Segini. I'm Nick Fershaw. It's Friday, May 13th. Jay, let's take a look at some of the premier games in Major League Soccer this weekend, starting with Saturday night. FC Dallas playing host to the Philadelphia Union. That's at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Matchday Live. And Jay, both these teams coming off a very short week.
Yeah, each team played on Wednesday night. This is the second time this week that Carlos Ruiz is facing one of his former teams, going down to Dallas. Philadelphia struggling a little bit offensively. Ruiz has scored a couple of goals for them, but it hasn't been coming consistently. Danny Mwanga getting the one in the midweek. We'll see if he plays a little more in Dallas as Peter Novak tries to spark this side. Dallas has been playing well lately. They've taken 10 of their last 12 possible points since the David Ferreira injury. They also had some good news off the field yesterday, re-signing Brek Shea to a long-term contract.
Yeah, FC Dallas locking down some of their future definitely on Thursday. Let's move on to another game Saturday night. Real Salt Lake playing host to the Houston Dynamo, 9 p.m. Eastern. That's on Fox Soccer, the Fox Soccer Night in America, and they're at Rio Tinto Stadium.
Yeah, Houston trying to bounce back from a really tough week last week. They had been playing very well. They were towards the top of the Eastern Conference. Then they lost 2 games, one at home to Colorado, one in Toronto. Going to Rio Tinto Stadium, not the place you want to go when you have to bounce back from a tough week like that. Real Salt Lake, though, obviously needs to recover now from that Javier Morales injury, and we'll finally find out what Jason Kreis is going to do in order to replace him.
Well, let's keep moving west out to Los Angeles, where the LA Galaxy play host to Sporting Kansas City. That one's at 10:30 p.m. Eastern on Matchday Live.
Yeah, the LA Galaxy haven't won in their last 3 games, but remember, they've played a ton of road games to start this season. 7 of their 11 games have been played on the road, so they'll be happy to get home to the Home Depot Center. That said, they can't really complain because Kansas City has played all of their games on the road. This will be the 7th game in a row that Kansas City's played. Obviously, they're on the road for 10 games to start the season. But if you're Kansas City, you have one thing to look at as a positive. They had a bye week. They had plenty of time to prepare, and they're playing the Galaxy on a short week. This could have the makings of an upset for Sporting KC.
Yeah, the first time this season that Sporting Kansas City has had a chance to really prepare for a team when they go on one of these road trips. Let's move up to the Pacific Northwest, perhaps the biggest game of the weekend. The Seattle Sounders playing host to the Portland Timbers up at Quest Field, 11 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 and ESPN Deportes.
Yeah, there's been plenty of hype around this game for a long time, since really before the season even started. A lot of it, though, off the field, the fans battling and jawing at each other. It's finally time to see what it looks like on the field when these two teams go at it. I'm looking forward to it. I think there's an interesting interview with Nate Jaqua on the site. Jaqua is a guy who played his college soccer in Portland, now obviously playing for Seattle. And he has a different perspective on it because he's seen it from both sides. So you can check that out on MLS Soccer.
Yeah, there's a handful of guys that have played on both teams. It's been interesting to hear their takes on this rivalry in the days leading up to Saturday night's game. Let's take a look at one last game. Sunday night, the New York Red Bulls playing host to Chivas USA out at Red Bull Arena, 7 p.m. Eastern on Galavision.
The New York Red Bulls playing very well lately, getting a string of wins, and then, of course, that result in LA. Chivas USA, on the other hand, had a good run going. That ended in Salt Lake, where they ended up playing with 9 guys. I don't know how much you can take out of that, but this game does set up very well for the Red Bulls, with Chivas USA having to travel across the country.
Well, keep in mind that no team that has crossed 3 time zones in MLS this season has been able to win a game. Teams that have done so winless in 24 games this season. 2 other things we want to mention before we go. There are 2 live chats on MLSsoccer.com this weekend. One between Real Salt Lake and Houston. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern on Saturday night. And one, Jay, of course, for the Seattle Sounders and Portland Timbers at 11 p.m. Eastern Saturday night. Log on to hear what all the fans are saying about that game. And for all the fans who haven't heard the latest edition of Extra Time Radio from Thursday, we had Seattle Sounders head coach Sigi Schmidt and Portland Timbers coach John Spencer.
Yeah, find out what Sigi Schmidt really thinks of Portland.
You can catch that on Buzzsprout and iTunes. And for all the latest news on this weekend in MLS, log on to MLSsoccer.com.